Shake a sugar shaker, what a thrill. Jeepers, I'm a sugar pill. Shake a sugar shaker, you can too. Sugar pills will work for you. Shake a sugar shaker, what a thrill. Jeepers, I'm a sugar pill. Shake a sugar shaker, you can too. Sugar pills will work for you. Hello everyone, I'm Barbara Baxter and I'm here to welcome you to Sugar Pills, a brand new series. And today I'm so excited because Ginger Watson is with us. Ginger is a graduate of Miami University, a graduate of Aveda Fredericks Institute. She's a makeup artist, a hairstylist, a clothing designer. She was crowned Miss Cavalcade 2013, Miss Pittsburgh World of Wheels 2014, and is the current reigning Miss Viva Las Vegas. Woo! Ginger also was able to combat depression and turn her life around after suffering a severe brain trauma called transient epileptic amnesia. She's a member and supporter of Patriot Pinup Incorporated. And like Sugar Pills with our ways to feel our best, Ginger helps people feel good about themselves. And by the way, she knows how to milk a goat and she can recite the alphabet backwards. Welcome, Ginger.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
It's great to have you here on the Sugar Pill Show.
Yes.
And I thought maybe we could start with you talking about your TEA experience with your brain. Tell us,
Yes.
how did that happen?
Well, I was under a great deal of stress. I had battled depression for a very long part of my life, and just a combination of lots of stress and depression led me to have a seizure. And within that seizure, I suffered the transient epileptic amnesia, and that's where your body does whatever it can to keep you going, and sometimes you will lose memories of kind of current things or things from your past that could be major life events, and that led me further into a world of depression. So I learned how to get myself out of that by doing all the stuff that I love and surrounding myself with all the people that make me feel good about myself. So
I want to make sure that we understand this. So there are ways that people can really help themselves when they're dealing with depression.
Yes, absolutely. I spent years taking medications and antidepressants thinking, that, a medical pill could make me feel better. And a lot of times I just ended up feeling more like a zombie, or like I wasn't my true self, and it was sort of masking what I really wanted to be and what I knew would make me feel better.
Now, it is true, of course, that some people need these types of medications.
Yes, yes.
In your case, however, you were able to, what did you just say, I'm going to try and do things I really like, or?
Yeah, I experienced different forms of therapy where I still do take an antidepressant medication because some people just have a chemical imbalance where they do need something like that. And but I learned different ways of coping where you can kind of distract those negative feelings by doing something positive.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Could you give us an example? I'm thinking, I know you like to focus on feeling good and helping others,
Yes.
so it certainly help others. If you could give us an example, how did you start? Was it something
Sure.
simple like, I don't know, you changed the way you looked, or what did you?
Yeah, I prior to the incident, I still marched to the beat of my own little drum, but I knew that whenever I would have those colorful things and those big flowers and things that when I would look at them that would make me happy, I knew that I just wanted to wear that all the time. So I started incorporating more of the things that made me happy into my clothing and into, wearing brightly colored makeup and things that I knew that whenever I spend a lot of time on myself that I felt better about myself. It didn't necessarily have to be what everyone else thought was,
Exactly.
the mainstream beauty, but what I felt great in. So
that's exciting to know, because something like color can certainly influence us.
Oh, yes.
And so you chose to wear the colors you like and surround yourself
Yes.
with colors that you like.
I did.
I know you became Miss Viva Las Vegas, but I don't think
Yes.
you just suddenly.
No.
I mean, how did that come about? And was this after you had the incident with the brain?
This was afterwards. I actually decided, and one of my forms of therapy was prior to that with the depression, I kind of kept to myself more, and I was kind of anxious about being around other people. And one of the things that I learned to do is I said, you know, I've got to push myself. If I put myself in something where I normally would feel uncomfortable, I need to change the way I feel in that situation. So I started doing more time period hair and makeup in my salon and volunteering my services. And I actually got a chance to work with the Cincinnati Museum Center, and that put me more out into the public and got me out of my comfort zone. And I started working in front of large crowds. And once I started doing that, they offered me different positions all over the city doing time period hair and makeup. So,
well, you were very brave.
Yeah.
Because to suddenly say, I'm going to get up in front of
Yeah.
a lot of people. I mean, good for you. Wow.
well, it was one of those things where in the past when I was younger, I had performed in front of people, but I didn't do a lot of public speaking. And I knew that I needed to have the courage to do that, because I thought of how many other people of all different ages suffered from depression and anxiety and needed to, you know, have someone that could show them, like, if I can do it, you can do it too.
Well, that's so true. And of course, depression can affect youngsters up to, you know, people who are 90s, people in their, you know, 100 and plus. So it's true. So you're a good influence, a good reminder to people
Yes.
that there are things we can do. And I believe one of the things you did was you became a Patriot pinup. Now, please tell us, what is a Patriot pinup, and how did you get into that?
Well, Patriot Pinup Incorporated is a nonprofit. It's a certified 501c nonprofit charitable organization. It was founded in Columbus, and what it is, it's a group of girls, and they all kind of dress this way of the time of the 40s and 50s. And they run around doing good deeds and helping out in the community with service, focusing on people that have served us in the military. So we raise funds for veterans and PTSD awareness.
Now, these good deeds, when you say you pin up the pinups,
Sure.
the pinupettes, the Patriot pinups.
Yes.
When you say you run around doing good deeds, give us an example
Well,
of what is a good deed.
We could focus on a military family where they may not be as fortunate as another family, and they want something as simple as, you know, having a nice dinner with their family. You know, not all people that serve in the military are provided with such, you know, great care when they come home. So we try to raise funds to help with the rest of the things that aren't taken care of and make them happy. Like one night we decided, let's raise enough money to send a family to dinner. You know, we're going to host an event where we're going to raise funds to help someone get a prosthetic, you know, body part or anything like that. Yeah.
And I believe you weren't you recently in a parade?
Oh yeah, we were during the 4th of July celebration. Actually, it was I think they said it was the first parade that they had to celebrate the troops since World War II. And yeah, it surprised us too in the city. That's what someone said to us.
Here with my
it
mouth
shocked
open.
us because one of the things that we all have in common is that we really do appreciate those that serve us in our military, and we thought, where's the welcoming wagon? Where's the welcome home? So we all got in an old, you know, Lincoln convertible with the suicide doors, all of us girls, and rode in the parade with some of the POW and MIA, you know, motorcycle clubs, and and with a few of the military people, you know, the Matt Maupin's parents and everything, and we rode around the city. And while we didn't have a gigantic crowd because, you know, it was the 4th of July. Yeah, it was the first time. We definitely made a huge impact because...
And the city that you're referring to is Cincinnati.
Yes,
okay.
And seeing so many young girls out there supporting such a good cause, it was very encouraging to girls that are within our age group.
Well, one of the things that I'm noticing, of course, is your outfit. I love your outfit.
Thank you.
And this is a vintage style.
Yes.
The Patriot pinups wear vintage style clothing. But prior to that, how did you get interested in vintage clothing? Because, you know, this is not, you know, not everybody.
Yeah.
And tell us.
I'm constantly asked if I just got finished on a play, or if I'm in a movie, or if I'm some sort of like a Disney character whenever people see me. But I tend to dress this way every day because it makes me happy.
There you go.
I think it makes others around me smile, and I think that that can help them have a good day, being cheery. But
and did you make the?
I did. I made this. This clearly is not a traditional vintage style of fabric, but it makes me happy. So I got into vintage style clothing mostly because I had my 2 grandmothers that were. It was their time. I had one grandmother who was the extreme classic. You know, every time I think of her, she's like the 1950s housewife, you know, very conservative, classic. And I spent a lot of time with her, and she kind of...
Apron and pearls.
Well, yes, the pearls, and, you know, entertaining guests and having dinner parties. And I really picked up on that, and a lot of her fashion was from that time. And then my other grandmother, she was a seamstress, and I spent a lot of time with her. And this seemed to be the style of clothing that she spent a lot of time designing herself, and I enjoyed the craftsmanship that went into it.
Well, yes, it sounds like you had 2 remarkable grandmothers.
Absolutely.
And I know there is something that Ginger told me that I'm going to let her talk about. One day your sewing machine broke and it was repaired by phone? You'll have to explain this.
My grandmother, the one that I was talking about that was a seamstress now, she's getting older, and she closed down her sewing shop, but she is one of the most amazing seamstresses that I've ever met in my life. In fact, I just received a quilt that she made me the other day, and just even her not being able to see as well as she could back then, she's just so amazing. So I was working on one of my designs, and my sewing machine started making these weird noises. So I called her, and I tried to describe to her what was going on to see, you know, if it was just, if my machine was supposed to sound that way, or if it was broken. And she said, well, honey, put the phone near the presser foot and let me hear. And she said, now
she doesn't live near you.
No, she lives in Arizona. She lives in a tiny town called Benson. I put the phone near the machine. It was remarkable. And I had it on speaker, and she says, okay, let it go. And I started going. And she said, get out a screwdriver and go underneath your presser foot. She goes, you need to, you know, work on the tension. She could hear from that, like a mechanic, you know, when they get in the car and hear what's wrong with it. It was the funniest thing.
I love that story. I just love that story.
Yeah.
And now it sounds like, since you had the incident, that you have been following your dream.
Yes.
You know, starting out slowly, step by step. Are you still following that? Are you still pursuing your dream? And what are you doing to continue your dream?
Absolutely. I would, like I had said earlier, that people got me interested into doing hair all over the city. I was given the opportunity to do hair for a pinup beauty pageant, and they actually, it was for Cavalcade of Customs. That's a big car show that's in Cincinnati every year in the wintertime. And my friend said, well, you could do hair there and pass out your business cards and maybe make friends with girls that are like you. And so that was part of my trying to be more outgoing. I said, yeah, I would love that. Well, they ended up not needing someone to do hair, and he said, why don't you just get in the contest? And
so what was the contest,
the
actually?
contest was to be Miss Cavalcade. And that's like a vintage of Cincinnati.
Oh, vintage cars.
Yes, it's like for the vintage cars, classic cars, basically anything pre-65 and under.
Oh, you're making me sound old.
No.
Anything pre-65.
Well, you know, like the hot rods and all that, not the modern day cars with all the computers. And I said, oh my gosh, I guess I could do that. And I had no intentions of winning. I brought a stack of my business cards. I just wanted to meet girls and put myself out there. And it was kind of like a personal thing of, I need to get over this anxiety of, you know, being to myself. I need to go and be around like-minded people. So I said, well, I'll give it a whirl. And I kept getting called back up on stage. I just kept progressing and progressing, and then finally I won the competition. And I had never...
Were you just like totally surprised?
Oh yeah, I had never entered anything like that, and it ended up making me become friends with a lot of great girls and get involved, and that's how I met all these people and got involved in all these activities. And then I continued on, and they flew me to Pittsburgh to work and
so
and
was
do
this
that,
like a
and
series of competitions?
yeah,
or how does that work?
Yes, it's a series of indoor car show competitions. And again, it was a last minute thing at Pittsburgh. I was just there to do promotional work and talk to people, and it was funny because here I am, this person that was terrified of people. And now I'm sitting at a table signing autographs and, you know, talking to kids and
helping people,
helping people feel
while.
good. Because I think one of the great things of what I do is I'm very approachable, and I've had a lot happen in my life, and I've experienced a lot. And so when people are going through things, I'm very empathetic, and I know how to relate to people and talk to them and give them ideas for how they can feel better.
I think we're very lucky to be talking with Ginger. And when you do reach out to people, as we are right now here on the Sugar Pill Show, you know, good for you for all the ways that you're reaching out to people. And when you went, just getting back to this, so you started out in Cincinnati, and then you went to Pittsburgh, and you won it.
I won that.
You won that.
Yes.
Then how did you become Miss Viva Las Vegas?
Well,
woo-woo!
I know, that's the biggest rockabilly convention in the world, and people just said, you should try out for that, you should do that. And what you have to do, you send in a photograph and a biography, and you talk about what you do within your community. This is a competition where it's not just about being the beautiful, ideal, you know, 1940s and 50s style girl. You have to have a lot of inner beauty. And it's throughout your community. You get people to support you and kind of nominate you, and it's worldwide. So there were girls from Australia, Germany, England, Brazil, all over trying to get in this contest, and they only picked 12 girls. So
wow,
yeah,
and I believe that because I had the opportunity, of course, to talk with you prior to us doing this, that there were no times when someone from the Midwest had won this.
Never.
Is that correct?
Never.
So, and they'd been doing this for 17 years?
They've had the convention for 17 years.
17 years.
Yes.
So all of a sudden you pop up out of the Midwest, you who can milk a goat. I love that.
Yeah.
It comes in handy.
The reason I said that was because, you know, from all the times of meeting so many other girls, it was neat that I thought, you know, well, how in the heck did I get here? I'm just a simple girl from the Midwest who can just milk a goat, and here's so-and-so from Australia who I look at from in photos. I think she's just this fabulous person, and all these great girls that I would be normally intimidated by, and I met them and was on the same level.
Wow.
And it was just neat.
Wow. Terrific.
Yeah, anything can happen from anywhere, and there's so many people out there that you can relate to make yourself feel better by just talking to them. And I don't...
Very good. Very good to hear that, yes. And when you are Miss Viva Las Vegas, you're that for a year?
Yes.
And do you go places and get to talk to more and more people?
Absolutely. It's provided me with so many great opportunities. I just recently got back from Las Vegas for a music convention where I got to talk with some of the more, you know, the stars of the culture and everything, and it was great. I also was flown out to Colorado Springs for their Rockabilly Expo, and where I got to have my own hair show there, talking about the roles that women played during World War II and teaching the different hairstyles.
Oh, okay. Now that reminds me. I saw you one time talking about hairstyles during World War II because there was a salute to the 1940s.
Yes.
At the Cincinnati Museum Center, and it was really fascinating because there was music and exhibits.
Yes.
And I turned the corner, and here's Ginger doing hairdos from the 1940s.
Absolutely.
Which has to be very different than what we do today.
Very much so. One of the things that I learned when you mentioned that I went to Oveda, I learned how to do hair without electricity. You know, so kind of old school, and that's I fell in love with that they could be so creative and create shapes in the hair that, you know, I mean, I can't recreate it with a curling iron. I can try my best, but there's nothing like the way they used to do it.
Like bobby pins and
just bobby pins and pin curls and wet sets and finger waves and all those, you know, old do's that everyone wants to learn how to do it for a costume party or anything like that. But one of the great things that I have found through this culture is that it makes all women feel beautiful, and it helps them with their self-esteem. You can be any size, shape, any color of hair, look any way.
Any color skin.
Any color skin. There are girls I've met that, you know, can't walk that are into this, and what it is it just makes you feel beautiful inside.
Yes. So if you're wheelchair bound, or if you're in bed and you're unable to get out, you still can have fun with these vintage hairstyles. Now, if we wanted to find examples of this, I guess we would look at like movie stars from that era. Who would be some of the movie stars if somebody wanted to go online? And
well, you know, Rita Hayworth, sort of Marilyn Monroe style, Betty Page. Betty Grable, lots of Bettys.
It must have been was a good year for Bettys, huh? Then they sometimes they would like swoop it all up, and then there'd be like all these little curl things on top.
Well, the reason that they did that, they had to get all their hair off of their face when they were working in the factories. So it was dangerous to have any hair. You couldn't go in with your hair down. So they would roll it all up and keep their nice curl. And at the end of the day, they could take that style out and have a beautiful
All right. We didn't want them getting their hair caught in the machinery.
No, absolutely not.
Wow. We're learning so much here. But I think that one of the important things is that you might want to tell us in maybe a sentence or two, what can you suggest for people to help them feel good about themselves that you normally say to people when you're going around the country?
Absolutely. One of the things that I tell people is that they should surround themselves with the things that they love and things that make them happy. I created my own little world in my own little sewing room where it's full of vintage clothing and petticoats and just all the things that make me happy. And I tell them to do what they love, and it's kind of one of those, no matter what, always do what you love because it'll make you happy. And that happiness has helped me get out of what I call my funk. And
well, it was a little more than a funk.
Oh, certainly, yes, more so than some people. But you know, you can't really compare your struggle to somebody else's.
True.
But you can offer them advice from all the things that you've learned. And one of the things that I've learned is just surround myself with what I love and who I love, and it'll make me feel better.
Well, I really think those are pearls of wisdom, and I certainly agree with it 100%. As you know, I'm a cancer survivor, and when I was having chemo and other treatments, I made an effort to surround myself with the things that I love and the people that I love, and I'm just excited for everyone, because one of the things that you touched on is it doesn't matter if you can walk around, it doesn't matter if you're in a wheelchair, it doesn't matter if you're bedbound, you can do something fun with your hair. Now, what about the guys?
Well,
their hairstyles look pretty much the same.
Well, they do. There are some that go into it a little further and do some of the more classic styles. You're seeing that a lot in fashion. Yes, yes, the hats are fantastic. And one of the things that I love about that time is that they really took a lot of pride in their appearance. And I find that when you dress up, you feel good. And it's one of those things that even in college, when I was in college, I thought, if I come to class in my sweatpants, I'm not going to feel like I'm ready to conquer the world. I'm going to feel like I'm ready to conquer my pillow, you know. I'm ready to go back to bed. So by dressing up in what I loved, I felt like I could focus more. I felt confident about myself. And I think that when you dress all the time, like every day is a special occasion, because it is.
Yes.
To me, being alive every day after having medical issues is a special occasion.
I'm with you on that.
And I want to treat myself like I am attending, you know, I say I go to prom every day. I do.
Well, one of the things Ginger did is she allowed me to put a picture of her in the Sugar Pills book wearing a dress she created, her cupcake dress.
Yes.
And Ginger, as a thank you for being on the show, I'd like to give you the Sugar Pills non-medical ways to feel your best. Thank you, Ginger. Thank you again for being on the show.
Oh, well, thank you.
And thank you for being with us.
Shake a sugar shaker, what